VFW certainly did that. But it also needed to address the crippling dilemmas that farm workers face in the community after they came home from work.
Most people were poor. They didn't have access to good housing or health care or education.
Chavez was adamant that his new union follow a strict policy of using only nonviolent tactics as a means of negotiation. While the organization was still in its infancy, UFW embarked upon one of the most influential boycotts in U.S. history, the boycott of all California table grapes.
The Great Boycott really took off in '68. Cesar had studied history. He knew that for 100 years, farm worker strikes were brutally crushed, and that the agricultural industry, which in California is one of the richest and most powerful industries in the state, controlled much of rural California. So what Cesar needed to do was take the fight from the fields where the odds were stacked against the farm workers and move it to the cities where the farm workers at least had a chance.
Over the next few years, led by Cesar Chavez, the farm workers would boycott, protest, march, and fast their way to a collective bargaining agreement, which guaranteed field workers, among other things, increased pay and the right to unionize.
He was responsible for a lot of the labor codes that we see today, the protections, the benefits, but the basic right to organize and affiliate.
As the head of the United Farm Workers of America, labor rights was not the only cause championed by Chavez.
Cesar's commitment to social justice went far beyond the farm workers. In the 1960s, he was a strong and vocal opponent of the Vietnam War. In the 1970s, Cesar was an early and vocal supporter of gay rights. Also not a popular position, especially at that time, among his own constituency.
Cesar Chavez died in his sleep on April 23, 1993. He was survived by his wife Helen, their 8 children, and 31 grandchildren. In 1994, he was posthumously awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom by President Bill Clinton.
In 1975, there was a reporter with a national news magazine following Cesar around for several days, rallies, marches, picket lines. And in an interview, she asked him, what accounts for all the affection and respect that farm workers show you in public? And Cesar paused for a moment, and then he smiled his easy smile, and he said, the feeling is mutual.
Mark Twain is now thought of as America's first celebrity because.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you all for joining today in celebration of Cesar Chavez Day. It is something that is a much need to be recognized. Cesar Chavez was a champion in organizing, and that's what movements are all about, is organizing. My name is Dexter McLeod. I am the president of the Los Angeles South Chamber of Commerce. So I just like to welcome all of you all, those of you that's on Facebook Live, as well as on this platform this morning. I'd like to thank all of our members that's here in attendance, our board members that's here in attendance, and all of our guests and partners. So on behalf of Boyle Heights Chamber, as well as USC Civic Engagement and 907K Marketing, again, we all would like to welcome you all to this platform. Today's meeting is our event is all about recognition of Cesar Chavez and the contributions that he has made in our country, in our nation, in our state, and in our city. It's very important that we recognize that. It's also important that we recognize organization. You know, in order for us to reach a common goal and a common agenda, we have to organize, and that's very important. We have to work together. We have to cross cultural barriers. We have to cross racial barriers in order to achieve a common goal, and that's the betterment of people. Helping other people every day. Hope is one of our, that is our foundation that we offer through the chamber. And that's what Cesar Chavez contribution and his life work was all about, is hope, helping other people every day. So again, I just want to thank you all for attending this morning. I want to welcome you all. I want to thank our partners again, 907K Marketing, USC Civic Engagement, and the Boyle Heights Chamber. It's all about collaboration and that is very important. So I have the privilege to introduce to some and present to others my friend, Jorge Nuño. Jorge is the founder of the Big House. The Big House is it's a multifaceted place, okay? It's a community organization. It does a lot of community advocacy, community organizing. They do small business development there. They put on a lot of events, social events, economic development events. So I absolutely encourage you all to learn more about the Big House, which is located right in the heart of South Los Angeles. So Jorge Nuño also threw his hat in the ring a few times for political office. He recently ran for the office of second supervisor district, border supervisor district for LA County. So that was his latest and his greatest. So I'm sure we haven't seen the last of him as far as throwing his hat in the ring in the political campaigns. But like I said, he is a voice of the people. He's a voice of the community. His heart is about the community first. And that's why he had my backing when he was running for office, because I know politics was second and the people were first. So on that note, again, I just want to present to you all and introduce Jorge Nuño. Take it over, Jorge.
Thank you, Dexter. I really appreciate those kind words. I'm excited to be here and have the opportunity to talk to everyone. As Dexter, my name is Jorge Nuño. I'm a social entrepreneur and the founder of the Big House. Now, the social part was never was not in my title before, but having moved my offices into the community that I grew up in, for over 50 years, gave me a different lens when I moved my offices here. From just having a 10-bedroom home with only utilizing 2 offices, what I did is I basically opened up the space to the community for people to incubate their small businesses there, to organizing coalitions, having workshops around tenant rights, criminal justice reform, to Black Lives Matter events. One thing I realized at the time that what I was really doing is I opened the door for our community to meet, congregate, and organize. If it's for a business agenda, if it's for community impact, it really happened organically, And one thing I've realized about our community is that, sometimes people are not looking for free, they're simply looking for access. And giving access to our community to meet and organize was a big asset to our neighborhood. I remember, another thing that I need to tell my story is that I'm also an owner of a marketing company called NTS Communications, and also a co-owner of a union print shop here in South Los Angeles. I've been doing marketing, film, and television for over 20 years. And I remember meeting with the vice president of multicultural initiatives at Walt Disney Global. And she, she shocked me because she said something that, I really, to this day, still stuck with me. And she said, Jorge, we have the most talented people around the world working with us. But what makes you unique is that you have a pulse of the community. And that gives you a unique creative lens. But what she was saying is basically my diversity of my upbringing, my diversity as a Latino-owned advertising agency made the difference. It made me stand out. And sometimes we forget as Black and Brown communities that we have our own story, and our stories matter. And that's what with Disney was like, Jorge, we're trying to get to those communities that you're in, and that you give us access to that. And we all know Disney is notorious to monetizing our stories. right? But we as business community, we also need to do it too. We need to own our stories and drive our narrative so that we change the conversation. But one thing I do want to say to the community, the business community and people that are listening is that we need to be very intentional about helping each other. Intentionally about, it's not about competition, but more about collaboration. You know, seeing our community, seeing things from an equitable lens. You know, be intentional about hiring locally and hiring people in those communities that have been ignored and left behind. That is going to make a difference in the business community. But also, again, open your doors up for people to come together and collaborate. So I just want to share that because of my experience being in South Central Los Angeles, having gone to school here, having gone to school in East LA, with my brothers and sisters on the East Side. You know, we have to work, you know, with each other, and we have to share insights, break bread with each other. But it's about being intentional. And I think I want to make sure that that's clear, that in looking in the future is about equity, is about looking at those communities again that have been ignored and left behind, and provide people with those resources. So I'm going to leave that with you, and thank you again for allowing me to share a few words.
Awesome. Great job. Thank you, Jorge.
Good morning, everyone. Well, thank you so much for being here again. Thank you for the partnership that we have with the LA South Chamber of Commerce. My name is Rocio Flores, and I work for USC Civic Engagement and Economic Partnerships. So happy to be a part of this event. And I'm even more thrilled to be able to introduce these powerhouse women who will be on our panel, our first panel, with the theme of women business empowerment. Again, it is Women's History Month, and so we want to make sure that we elevate and highlight the voice of the women entrepreneur. And so I'm excited to have Ms. Opa Price with Insurance Solutions, it's her business. Ana Villagrana from Afroanasi and Afro Waste Beads as well. She has two businesses. And Celina Estrada from Serious Bloom. So thank you so much. Join me in a little emoji reaction or a little silent clap, or to celebrate them and thanking them for being here with us for this first panel. Ernesto, if you can spotlight the three ladies, that would be great as we engage in our conversation. So we're going to engage in the conversation with them about their journey. And so I'm going to just get started with the first question. So Anna, share with us how you've been able to connect with community through your business as an entrepreneur. We want to be able to hear your story.
Right. Well, first of all, thank you for the space and for allowing such an incredible group of people to share, you know, their journey as business owners. I'm also born and raised in South Central LA, of parents from Mexico. And when I was about 25 years old, I decided to do an exchange volunteer program overseas, and I lived in Ghana, which is also where I met my husband. So here we are crossing bridges, right, between South LA and East LA. I kind of did that going to Africa and meeting my husband and enriching myself in knowledge with the culture of Ghana. What our business, our vision is to create a bridge between Ghana and our communities in South LA, East LA, wherever we go is our community, you know? So we try to embrace and educate and inform and introduce African culture and traditions through prints. So what we do is we import accessories and we make handmade stuff like face masks, headbands, other amazing things that we share with our community. And in that situation or in that opportunity, we allow ourselves to educate and kind of introduce our young generation or people who are purchasing our products to the beautiful, vibrant colors and traditions of Ghana. That's Afroanasi. Afro waist beads, it's a monster of itself, because Afro beads comes from a tradition of long generations of waist beads. So women in Ghana, most tribes wear waist beads from the day they're born until the day they pass away. You know, it starts as a bonding. It's a way of protecting and empowering women, and also transitioning into adulthood and what you use them for that matter. What we try to do and what we've been able to do in our community so far is, at the beginning of Afroanasi, we started to give out face masks. So we kind of were birthed, if you could say, after the pandemic. We noticed that there was a need of face masks within, you know, the first few months of the pandemic. And my mom, my husband, my sister, and I, you know, we grouped up. We had material that we already had brought back from our trips to Ghana. And we started making face masks and started giving them out in our community to street vendors, restaurants, grocery stores, the elderly. Eventually they became so accessible that we started to sell them, and now we're in coffee shops like South LA Cafe, Patria Cafe in Compton, some cafes in Lummer Park and whatnot. Our biggest connection is the Anansi part of our business. Anansi, for those who don't know, is a very wise spider who tells stories to children throughout Africa, not just in Ghana. He's birthed in Ghana, but he has traveled through Africa and to the Caribbean and other parts of the world. So what we're trying to do is actually educate children, introduce them to Anansi and his stories through storytelling. So my son and I will, you know, do Zoom meetings with kindergarten and first grade classes, and we will introduce Anansi stories to young children. My son loves Anansi and he loves to participate in anything like that. So it's our way of connecting to our community and kind of already planting seeds of love and connection to Africa.
Laura, Ana, thank you so much. It's beautiful. What a purpose-driven mission you have in your business. Thank you for sharing that. Celina, share with us a little bit about how you connect with your community as an entrepreneur.
So actually, being a youth life coach and living in South Central, I was really like, how can I really target the youth in my community? And it's been a struggle. But I actually reached out to the local church, which is St. Patrick's Church, and I offered a faith-based life coaching workshop because in this community, being a Catholic and a Latina, you have to go to do your confirmation. And I remember doing my confirmation, not really knowing why I needed to do this, why I needed faith in my life. And so I wanted to offer a life coaching aspect to students. And there's about over 100 students that participated in this program. And also, you know, while I was there, just showing them how they can incorporate vision board making and meditation, not only in, you know, faith, but also in their personal life, and how they can overcome obstacles, and just basically show them the tools, life coaching skills in this community, because I really feel like that's something that I needed as a youth, and that I really could have benefited from that if I would have had those skills. And so, like I always say, I want to be the person I needed when I was younger. And so that's where my business focus is on. And, you know, I really struggled also with in the beginning, because I'm like, does the world really need another life coach? But my answer was always yes, because I knew what I brought to the table. I knew my background and how I knew that people needed to hear my story and they needed my services. And so I highly recommend, if you're a business or if you're thinking about opening a business, and if you can't stop thinking about it, I think that's something you really should pursue. And also, you know, there's just so many resources out there. I never grew up in a family that had businesses. I knew nothing about business, and I'm still learning and I'm still growing. But don't let that stop you. And just you can reach out to me, reach out to, I'm pretty sure, anyone here on this Zoom call, and we would love to be a resource if that's something that you feel like that's your avenue. And thanks again. Thanks for having me here today.
Celina, that's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Opa, the same question. How do you connect your business to community engagement, the importance of being involved?
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you guys for having me on the panel today and on the webinar. It's a pleasure. It's wonderful to see everyone here. I got started in my business. First of all, I'm from Arkansas, okay, but I moved to South Central LA when I was 9 years old. I come from a family of 10. And what motivated me to get started in my business, number one, I lost my mom at a very early age. She was 53. And we had no idea of how to handle her situation. It was the first time we had death in the family. And we struggled because so many things happened at that time. We struggled to deal with it. And I've never seen anything like that in, the things that took place, where to go, where to start. And 2 or 3 things motivated me. Losing my mom, I was, had 2 small kids at the time. Things weren't really right on my job. Came from a communications background. And I felt like people really needed to know how to handle situations like that. And it just, somehow was just a gift to me to go. I wanted to go out and tell the whole world, especially my community, how to handle situations like that, because we don't know. Even today, we don't know. But I would connect with the community. I would attend, meetings, and I would just, go out. And I started my business part-time. I worked a full-time job. I would work my business in the evening. And that's pretty much how I got started. When I found that my part-time income started to be more than my full-time income, then I had to make a decision. The other thing that really motivated me is that I became a single parent. I had 2 small kids, and I found myself working from 7 in the morning to 7 at night. And I was so just hurt as a mother because I felt like I could not give my kids the attention. I couldn't go to their school programs. I couldn't go to PTA. I couldn't get them in sports. And I was so motivated to become self-employed so that I could spend the quality time with my family. At the same time, I'm helping people. I would sit down with families and show, and sitting was a problem because I'd have to drag my kids along with me. But it worked. But I felt the strong desire to change the community and show people that there are ways that we can help ourselves. There are ways that we can prepare ourselves. We just have to take the time and have an open mind to do that. I know that paying a death claim made a big difference in a family. And it's not so much about showing families how to spend money or more money, but just take the assets and reposition what they were doing to get them started in the right direction. So I've done that for many, many years. 35 years later, I'm still at it. I love what I do. It's about helping people every day. It is much needed in our communities because I really feel, when I see families struggling to do a car wash or to do a bake sale to raise funeral funds and that kind of thing. We can get beyond that if we just take the time to know that it's out there, and communication is the key. Many of our families do not communicate with each other. My family came from my family where my mom and father always told me to stay out of grown folks' business. But I encourage families to take the time to communicate with one another, talk about your situation and how you can improve your situation. What can I do better? And that was one of the things that motivated me, is showing families how they can get on a proper path of how to take care of their families, how to do better in a situation like that, and be prepared more than anything. Be prepared. We don't want to, it's one of those sore things we don't want to talk about, but my way of reaching out to the community, I also work with the LA South Chamber, the Hope Connection, And that's our foundation there. And I also donate my time as far as helping women. We do a women's in business luncheon once a year. We do what we call round tables, where we talk about our situations, because I feel like most women, the business that you're in is a gift. You're given a gift. And I will tell you all the time, if you don't handle that gift, if you don't take care of that gift, guess what? Somebody else will. But you were special enough to get that gift. And I encourage them to handle that gift, work your gift, be proud of what you do, and make it happen. You know, we go through a lot. You know, women go through a whole lot, but we have to nurture that gift that God has given us. Because what will happen if you don't nurture that gift and it's your thought, your idea, or something you've been inherited with, somebody else will take that ball and run with it. And you will be sitting there saying, I wished I should have, could have, would have. So it's a pleasure to be here. And I encourage every woman that's here this morning that runs a business, keep up the work. You know, in our chamber, we have close to 80% of women that are doing what they do. And I'm so proud to see women out there making it happen, making moves, and taking care of their families and doing what you need to do. So thank you very much. And that's my heart for the community.
Thank you, Opa. Thank you so much. So you spoke a little bit about what motivates you. And so we're going to bounce it over to Celina. So, you know, getting started and getting motivated to get your business going, you know, sometimes we encounter cultural, community challenges, family challenges. Can you speak to that a little bit? What were some of those challenges and how did you kind of get through that, or how are you still getting through that?
Well, I think that's a big one, especially among, you know, I would say the Latino community, because you may not get that support that you always think you're going to get from family. And so just my advice to others is you don't need others' support. If you truly believe in the message and the service or product that you want to present to people, that's all you need. And so, you know, you got to keep in mind, not everyone's going to support your vision. Not everyone is going to get like the message that you want to deliver, but that's okay, because as long as you have that, that's really all you need, you know. And like I said, my target is youth and I do life coaching. And so when I hear people always saying, oh, you're a life coach, and it's like, I'm not just a life coach, I'm a youth life coach. And for example, if I were to give you a recipe, or all of you to say, hey, let's make chicken soup, everyone would make chicken soup, but they would add their own touch. And that's how I see life coaching, is we each add our own little spice to it, our own little uniqueness. And so even though maybe, you know, the market is saturated, I just want you to know that whatever you bring to the table matters, and someone will, you know, benefit from it. And so it took a lot of internal dialogue for me to get to this point. And that's what I want to share to other business owners and other people interested in starting a business, is don't let that internal dialogue take over. So believe in your dream and just keep moving forward and keep learning, because if you're not learning, you're not growing.
Thank you, Celina. Thank you so much. Ana Laura, can you speak a little bit to the same question?
Sure. I mean, I feel that, at least for me and my husband, you know, as being co-owners of Afroanasi and Afrobeats, the challenges, I mean, Afrobeats has been around for many years, and we only do Instagram. And we just solidified our business just a few months thanks to an amazing organization, What's Rising. They really empowered me as the one who actually does more of the day-to-day stuff for the business, to learn and to take that step and help me understand that I was worthy of, you know, getting a business license, because there was a lot of mental challenges that I placed on myself on, will we succeed? Is this the right mood? How many taxes are we going to pay? How do we do it? Like, this is a whole different animal, you know? And here I am, just graduated from my master's in social work, and now learning how to run a business. It just seems so overwhelming, having a child being, learning at home, and he's only 5, and all these there were so many challenges, but to everything that I would pose as a challenge, Watts Rising, friends, people, my tribe always challenged me with, well, why can't you? You've done everything else that you've set your mind to. And everything I learned from social work that I was trying to help clients with, I just had to like reverse it on myself and start believing in myself more and actually following through. There's also the generational challenges, right? As Celina mentioned, I also didn't have anyone, you know, well, I had my father who had a small business, but really didn't have like a proper business, you know, that I could say, oh, this is step one, step two, step three. So I didn't have that growing up. So I always felt like, oh, it's going to be way too much for me. But, you know, overcoming that takes a village, you know, it takes a tribe, it takes experience. Owning that you have something that you believe in and that you see and you hear people's stories on how your product impacts their life just motivates you to continue and talk. And speaking of motivation, my business is 100% driven by my son, for my husband and for myself. You know, it is our goal as parents to plant these seeds of love for his culture, not just Ghana, but Mexico as well. And this is our way of leaving a legacy for him to understand the stories of Anansi and the roots of where it comes from, owning it, and then spreading that, you know, in every journey that he's in his life. So yeah, that, I hope that answered the question.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, no, yes, it definitely did. So we're gonna turn it over to Opa for this is the last question, and then we'll make sure we move on to our second panel. You spoke a little to what motivated you already to start your business, but what were some of those cultural community challenges maybe that you encountered along the way, and how'd you work through those?
Well, those challenges were, you know, the fact that I was a woman. And a lot of times, you know, you would have people looking at you that, you know, you can't do this, or you weren't always recognized for what you did. And I struggle with that in the first part of my business because I was one of those women that was determined to stand out. I was one of those women that was determined to know that I could do this, simply because behind that, I knew what the real chosen desire was. My desire was to become an independent person where I could have quality time with my family, with my kids, and I could choose my own destination. That was my motivation. Regardless to what people would say, you know, a lot of when you guys talk about your family doesn't support you, my family was the hardest to deal with. You know, my dad used to think I sold drugs. Okay, but I had to get around all of that, and your friends around you wondering, is she gonna make it? Why did she leave her job to do what she did? But I was motivated to leave my job because I believed in myself. I believed that I could do what I'm setting out to do. And I would hear the negativity. I would experience it in the community. Sometimes I wasn't always accepted, but I was determined to keep going. And I really got to the point at one time, my first 5 years in the business, I can remember the awards presentations. We'd have something every Christmas. We have a big dinner, you know, awarding those that achieve their dreams and their goals that they set for that year. And I must tell you, I got an award. I was on stage with probably 10 men, and I was the only female there. And that said a lot to me because it was my determination to keep going. I knew that I was good at what I did, and I was determined to keep my head up and know that I could get awards just like anybody else and earn the same income like anyone else. And I worked that hard doing just that. So I just, you know, I tell people to just, you know, stay steadfast and believe in yourself. And that's the hardest thing to do, is that you can do whatever you set out to do. It's keeping the faith.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Opa, for sharing your story. Thank you to Celina, Ana Laura, Opa. Thank you so much for sharing your experience, your story, your why, your connection to community. It's been really beautiful listening to that. Thank you so much. So now I will turn it over to Ernesto, who will be introducing and moderating the second panel.
Yes, hi there. Hi, everyone. My name is Ernesto Comodo. I'm with 907K Marketing, and we are a marketing strategy company based out of South LA. And I'll be introducing the diverse local business owners panelists. We have Maria-Isabel Rutledge with Enagic. She's an independent distributor for Kangen water. Guillermo Saade with Edward Jones, and Deysi Serrano with Milpa Grille and Noah Place out of Boyle Heights. So I want to start with the first question that we have is, what did you have to do to get started and sustain your business? Maria, can you start with this question?
Yes, certainly. Thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity. First of all, I want to say that I really appreciate Cesar Chavez. I am a community activist and I'm a health activist. I participate in many groups in my community because I feel like I don't only live in my property, my whole community is my property and my responsibility to get to know everybody. I am very grateful to be here. The way that that I started my business was because I kind of fell into it. I was very sick, and while I was working with the school district, and I discovered that I just couldn't do it any longer. And the Lord presented me this opportunity to do better. And now I find that it's my obligation to share with other people. And my family didn't support me very much when I started. They're like, oh, okay, well, whatever, you know. But I found so much love and so much acceptance from strangers. And strangers were very willing and very open to hear me talk about my story of how I regained my health and how the Lord permitted me to just be around to help others. I am also, I want to say that that we are one people, and we have to learn to really see the best in each of us. And we are flowers of the field in the Lord's eyes, and we're all different colors, shapes, and sizes, and we all have different cultures, which are the fragrance of the flowers. And I am just so happy that I'm able to be in this group with the Chamber of Commerce that is diverse and celebrates diversity.
Oh, thank you. Guillermo, can you answer the same question?
Yes, good morning, everybody. Thank you again for inviting me to be a part of this. What did I have to do to get started? So one, I had been always impressed by, so I'm a financial advisor with a firm called Edward Jones. I am given the flexibility to build my business as if it was my own business, but I am tied to the company. So, however, there is a lot that goes into building the business. So a lot of it is reaching out to your networks and really, at the end of the day, a lot of door knocking at the beginning, but of course, pre-COVID. I also really wanted to connect with the communities that were underserved. A couple of areas. So one, I really wanted to connect with the South LA community particularly now that we live there, but also finding opportunities to better serve areas that are maybe like people don't care. For example, financial literacy when it comes to nonprofit organizations, who's assisting them with business retirement plans. So as far as helping me sustain the business, obviously a lot of this is the type of business that depends on a lot of referrals. That's how we get to a sustainable business. And, you know, at the end of the day, that's where I want to be, but always continuing to look for opportunities to serve those that are typically overlooked in the financial space.
Your voice went out.
I'm sorry?
We
Oh,
can
you,
hear him fine, Ernesto.
oh, you did? Oh, it was just me. Okay, sorry.
I think it's Daisy, right?
Oh, okay. I thought that something happened with the volume. Yes, Daisy, can you please answer the same question? I believe you're gonna have a way different experience. So.
Yeah, so hi everyone, my name is Daisy. I am owner of Milpa Grill here in Boyle Heights. It's a restaurant based on the Mesoamerican diet. So the Three Sisters corn, squash, and beans, which we grew up with and really made a difference for the Maya, the Mesoamerican, Aztecs, Olmecs, whatever it is, to grow during that time. So I'm also owner of Noa Noa Place, which is a Latinx queer bar here in Boyle Heights. We opened back in December, and I guess we started with Milpa. Just like you, Isabel, I kind of landed on it. I was an office manager in the very beginning. I had my business. My first business, I want to say, was buying cars and reselling. So I had my dealership license, and then from there I had to get a job because my husband went to Mexico during his immigration process, and I was just kind of like, well, I need money that's stable. And during this time, Milpa Grill was in the works with this architect that I was working with. Story short, I kind of just I took over the business, and so I had no experience. It was definitely something that I didn't imagine myself doing, but I think I believed in the concept of community, right? A little bit about Mesoamerican or the Three Sisters is they grow together. Beans, they kind of wrap around the corn, and then the squash leaves protect the soil. So my idea in community is based on that. Like, we want to help each other. We want to empower each other to grow together. And I think that was something that really sustained the business during the pandemic. We've been open 3 years now. And the fact that we're able to give back, it's a personal thing. I want to help, but I think because we give so much, people just give right back, and I love that, and that's what builds community at the end of the day. And yeah, no, I think for a restaurant, it's just like you, Guillermo, referrals, right? Word of mouth, that type of marketing is amazing. I definitely was going to a lot of these meetings. That's how I met Rocio through USC Bridges to Business, and I took that course. It was uncomfortable. I was uncomfortable talking about like food and my concept and my pitch. Selling yourself, it's really hard to do, I think, in the beginning. But again, you have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable to get to the point that you're at. And it's beautiful to see like so many of business owners that just did exactly that. You know, we didn't know better, and now we're getting there. And yeah, you have to learn, you have to keep educating yourself because that's the way you grow. But no, I appreciate you guys having me again. So yeah, for me, it's all about giving back. Community is going to help you out, having those referrals, going out there and expose yourself and talk about your product, because you're the only one that's passionate about it. No one else is, and no one else is going to sell it just like you do.
Okay, very cool. Very cool, Daisy. I just saw that Guillermo put that you have a solid 5-star on Yelp. So very good.
I do. And it's, thank you.
Okay.
We have to have our next chamber event there once we can congregate.
You got it.
For the next question, for Maria, Why is it important to focus on diversity and inclusion as an entrepreneur or business owner in your community? Maria.
Okay. Yes. As an Afro-Latino, I'm blessed to see the world through different windows. And I get excited when I meet different people, different cultures, different ideas. And I really am happy to meet and experience different ideas that people have. And I get to see things differently once I meet people and see how they see things. I think that that's the way we grow. That's the way that that this world just becomes one family. We are all children of one God, and we're all one family that God really loves diversity, as we can see. So therefore, we need to embrace it and love it and get to know all of the different flavors and cultures and foods. So I am just excited to be able to present my business to all of these cultures, because everybody drinks water and everybody needs to have the most high quality water possible. So this, with my business, I present it to businesses, restaurants and schools and spas and everything, because everybody needs high quality water. And it's a travel unit that I take it with me everywhere I go. If I'm going to spend a week or so somewhere, I take it with me connected, and I am just so happy to share with people, and it leaves them a different perspective of what they can do with their health.
Okay, thank you, Maria. Deysi, same question to you.
Yeah, you know what? It's a very, you know, we're talking about this, right? I think during our Monday meeting that diversity and inclusion, it is a big deal. It is a sensitive subject. I can tell you, based on Boyle Heights, we're experiencing change, right? That means gentrification. That means new buildings. That means rent goes up. That means everything goes up. And I'm okay with having different businesses. And we're talking now at this point, community. I can really talk about, you know, Milpa and employees. That's great. But I think in the bigger picture is we definitely need diversity in our community. And I can tell you from a health point of view that we are dying from, you know, high blood pressure, diabetes, all that. So diversity for me, definitely in that sense would be, hey, we need more places that are, you know, health conscious, because our community needs it at this point. And that means empowering other people to create businesses that are diverse. If you have other people that aren't, you know, people of color, then that's okay too. But I'm always very passionate about, you need to care about the community that you're coming in. As a stakeholder, you need to give back. And if you don't, I think this is when people are like, well, you're just here for money. And I don't think that's cool. I have the business. We used to have what's called Boyle Heights. What is it? They were against gentrification and would protest. And luckily, I was in Target as a new business. And usually they would have. But I go back to, if you don't give back to the community and you just don't look for different options to provide and know the community that you're serving, then it sucks. And we just have to be super aware of that. As you know, I did have a Boyle Heights community fridge. I have that in my restaurant. We used to have it outside. And we did have an issue with what it said, para la gente, for the people. And that was just another thing about diversity, right? Or inclusion. It's not saying that it's, you know, mainly white, or it's just for Latinos or Latinx. This is for everybody. It's for the people. And I go back to Isabel, we're one. Like, I don't, you know, we shouldn't be technicalities like, oh, it's just for this. No, like the community fridge, as simple as a concept as it is, we got so much drama out of it when it shouldn't have. It's there during the pandemic for you to get food, free food, that people are donating. And that's how we create sustainability, right? We are sustainable as a community. And so I'm proud and I'm happy to see new businesses coming in with a different flavor, right? We definitely want not just Mexican food. Let's bring Thai. Let's bring other type of stuff in the community, other businesses. Afroanasi, I love, your story. And like, I would go and buy something, but it's not here. And I think going back to its right economic development, we want to make sure that we spend the money in the community so the community grows with you. And that way we can afford those high rents, right? We can afford being able to pay $12, $15 a meal, whatever the case may be, and still, just be sustainable as a community.
Very good. Thank you, Deysi. Guillermo, so you're the last one to comment. So
Okay.
closing statement.
Try not to stand between everybody and lunch at Milpas, especially. So I just wanted to point out, so we have a purpose statement at Edward Jones. Edward Jones is a large firm, and I like the fact that this is the statement. It says, our purpose at Edward Jones is to make a positive impact in the lives of our clients, colleagues, and communities. Nothing related to stocks, mutual funds, retirement accounts, no. To make a positive impact in the lives of our clients, colleagues, and communities. They're also committing, they're making $1 million investment in the National Urban League, supporting organizations and efforts that are important to our clients, associates, and communities. So that's one. Two, at the end of the day, one of the things that I always emphasize to my clients is, folks will ask me, oh, what's your minimum? And I'll share with them, and a lot of folks, oh wow, that's a lot lower than I was expecting. The guys at Morgan Stanley won't ever talk to me, and so at the end of the day, I always say, if I start putting up barriers and everything, that really stifles how I'm going to impact my community. So I'm here to help everybody. And like I said earlier, when it comes to underserved areas, particularly, how do I do this? I go about, my webinars. Some of you are aware that I do webinars about once or twice per month on a variety of topics. And so my goal is to always educate, not sell. I start with the education first, and as a what's called fiduciary, we have a responsibility to always act in the best interest of the client. So, but I go beyond that and I say, okay, let me go out and do webinars now because of Zoom. But if it weren't for COVID, I would be out in the community doing these seminars to just educate. Again, a lot of folks who aren't aware of things related to investing or Social Security or retirement planning. So I want my book of business to be diverse because I want it to be as diverse as the community that I serve.
Great, Guillermo. Thank you guys so much. So now we want to turn it over to Dexter to give us our closing remarks.
Well, very good. Thank you all. Everybody, awesome job. I know, TikTok goes the clock. We don't have enough time to cover everything, but we got it all in this morning. And we appreciate all of you all for attending this morning. Appreciate all of you all that's on Facebook. Want to thank the panelists. Awesome job. Panelists, awesome job. The questions, the answers, great job. Thank you. Thank Jorge. Nuño, check out the big house. A lot of community work, a lot of community engagement, social entrepreneurs. It has a co-working space there at the big house. So check that out with Jorge Nuño. I'd like to thank Ernesto and 907K Marketing for all the back office things and helping facilitate this event. Of course, USC, Civic Engagement with Rocio, and also Boyle Heights Chamber. Thank you all for the collaboration. And that's what it's all about, is collaboration. And I want to thank all of you for attending as well. We have a few of our partners on the call, One West Bank, and I believe Kaiser is on here as well. So thank you all for joining. And that's what it's about. In order for us to sustain and build our community, it takes us. We are enough to take care of our own community. And I just wanted to emphasize that it's all about working together, respecting each other, collaboration, doing the community engagement is the key. And our diversity is our strength. And that's very important. So on that note, I would like to invite you all to join us tomorrow morning, 9:30 a.m. We are having our bi-weekly, every other week, South LA meetup. So that is a platform where you can come out and talk more about your business, network, learn some different techniques and skills, and learn about resources that's available for your small business. Tomorrow, we have one of our members that's going to present on turning your hustle into a business. We have a whole series workshop on that, but a lot of folks out here are just getting started and they don't know all the details it is to run a business and maintain and sustain your business. So we're going to talk a little bit about that tomorrow. So if you are interested, check our websites, USC Civic Engagement, lasouthchamber.com, and you can sign up and ready for that. So on that note, God bless you. Thank you all for joining. Have a prosperous week. And, Cesar Chavez legacy lives on. And of course, Women in Business and Women History Month. Every day is Women History Month, and we celebrate women every day with our chamber and in our community. So God bless you and have a wonderful day and wonderful weekend. And happy Easter to you all.
Happy Easter. We're going to hang out for a while too, if any.